There's a moment, right before the result, where everything stops. Your heart doesn't beat the same way. Your brain goes quiet. And for just a second, the entire universe collapses into one question. Did I win? That moment, that exact moment, is one of the most powerful experiences the human brain is capable of feeling. And the strangest part? It doesn't matter if you win or lose. That moment will pull you back. Every single time. Billions of people across thousands of years, across every culture, every religion, every economic system, have been unable to resist gambling. Farmers in ancient China bet on cricket fights. Roman soldiers gambled for Jesus' clothes at the cross. Medieval monks played dice in secret behind church walls. And today, the global gambling industry generates more money annually than the film, music, and video game industries combined. So this isn't a story about addiction. This isn't a warning. This is something far more interesting. This is the story of what gambling reveals about the human brain. Why the most intelligent species on Earth keeps doing something that statistically guarantees they'll lose. And why deep down you might already know exactly what it feels like, even if you've never placed a bet in your life. Because here's what nobody tells you. You gamble every single day. You just don't call it that. Let's go back to the beginning. Not the beginning of gambling. The beginning of you. Of us. Of the brain we all inherited from ancestors who lived in a world nothing like the one we're standing in now. 100,000 years ago, survival was a gamble. Every morning you woke up was a calculated risk. Do you leave camp to hunt? There's food out there, but also predators. Do you eat the unfamiliar berries? They might be nutritious. Or they might kill you. Do you approach the stranger from another tribe? Could be a trade partner. Could be the last person you ever see. Every single decision had an uncertain outcome. And the humans who thrived, who survived long enough to become your ancestors, weren't the ones who froze in the face of uncertainty. They were the ones whose brains got excited by it. Uncertainty, for the human brain, was never just a problem to solve. It became something to crave. And here's where it gets genuinely strange. Your brain doesn't release dopamine when you get a reward. That's a myth almost everyone believes. Your brain releases dopamine in anticipation of a possible reward. It's the possibility, the not knowing, that floods your system with that chemical signal we associate with pleasure, focus, and desire. Scientists figured this out by studying rats. A rat presses a lever and always gets food. The dopamine response is moderate, predictable, and fades over time. But when that same rat presses a lever and only sometimes gets food, randomly, unpredictably, the dopamine response explodes. The rat presses the lever obsessively. It will keep pressing even when it's not hungry, even when it's exhausted. Sound familiar? That mechanism, called variable ratio reinforcement, is the single most powerful behavioral pattern ever identified by psychologists. And it is the exact engine that runs every casino, every slot machine, every scratch card, every betting app, and, though they'd never say it out loud, most social media platforms ever built. The unpredictability isn't a side effect, it's the product. Now here's what makes this really interesting. Because dopamine alone doesn't explain everything. There's another force at work. One that's even older, even deeper, and almost completely invisible. It's called the near miss. You've seen it happen. You pull the slot machine, 2 cherries line up perfectly, the third one stops, just 1 position away. You almost won, except you didn't. You lost. Completely. The outcome is identical to getting nothing at all. But your brain doesn't process it that way. Brain scans taken during near-miss moments show the same regions lighting up as during an actual win. Your brain, on some fundamental level, experiences almost winning as a version of winning. It registers it as evidence that you're getting closer, that the next one might be it. And so instead of discouraging you, the near miss motivates you. It's irrational. It's also completely human. Casino designers discovered this effect decades before neuroscientists could explain it. That's why slot machines are specifically programmed to produce near misses at a rate far higher than pure chance would create. It's not an accident. It's architecture. The machine is built to make your brain feel like it's on the edge of something, perpetually, artificially, deliberately. And none of this requires a casino to work on you. Think about the last time you were waiting for a message back from someone you really cared about. Every time your phone lit up, something happened in your chest. That anticipation, that not knowing, was the same circuit. You weren't gambling with money, but your brain was running the exact same program. Or think about the way sports fans watch games. not as passive observers, as participants in something uncertain. The outcome is unknown. It could go either way. And that uncertainty, that genuine, unscripted unpredictability, is precisely why live sports feel different from watching a movie you already know the ending to. Gambling didn't create this feeling. It borrowed it from everywhere else in human life. But here's the question no one asks. If the brain responds to uncertainty this way, why do people keep gambling even after they understand how it works? Even neuroscientists, even professional statisticians who can calculate the exact probability of every outcome. Why does knowing not fix it? Because knowledge and instinct run on different software. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that processes logic, calculates risk, reads articles like this one, is relatively young in evolutionary terms. It developed over hundreds of thousands of years. But the reward system, the dopamine circuit, the part of your brain that lights up during a near miss, that's millions of years old. It doesn't speak the language of probability. It speaks the language of feeling. And when those two systems disagree, feeling wins more often than logic would like to admit. There's a cognitive bias called the gambler's fallacy, and it's one of the most persistent, most documented, most universal errors the human brain makes. It goes like this. If a coin has landed heads 10 times in a row, most people feel, deeply, intuitively feel, that tails is overdue. That the universe is somehow balancing the scales. It isn't. A coin has no memory. Every flip is independent. The probability is always 50-50, regardless of what happened before. But try telling that to someone watching a roulette wheel land on red 11 consecutive times. Even if they know the math, something in them whispers, black is coming. It has to be. That whisper isn't stupidity. It's pattern recognition. One of the most powerful tools your brain evolved. In the real world, patterns matter. If it rained every time those particular clouds appeared, you learned to find shelter when you saw those clouds. If one path through the forest always felt dangerous, you avoided it. Patterns saved lives. But random systems don't have patterns, and your brain was never designed to tell the difference. Now layer on top of that something called the illusion of control. Gambling researchers found something remarkable in a series of experiments. When people were allowed to roll the dice themselves, rather than have someone else roll it for them, they bet more money. Same odds. Same game, same probability of every outcome. But the physical act of holding the dice, of feeling like they had agency, made people more confident in a positive result. Gamblers blow on dice. They pick their own lottery numbers rather than accepting randomly generated ones. They press the button themselves instead of letting the machine spin automatically. None of this changes anything mathematically, but psychologically, it changes everything. We are creatures who need to feel like we matter. Like our choices shape what happens to us. And gambling, cleverly, gives us the costume of control without ever giving us the real thing. But here's where the story takes a turn that most people don't expect. For the majority of people who gamble, it's not about the money at all. Ask them, really ask them, what they're chasing. What they felt in the moments they remember most. And almost none of them describe the money. They describe the feeling, the aliveness of it. The way ordinary time compressed into something electric and vivid. Psychiatrists who study this talk about a state called the zone. Regular gamblers, particularly slot machine players, describe entering a flow state. A meditative calm where the outside world disappears, where problems, anxieties, social expectations, the weight of regular life, all of it dissolves. It's not excitement thereafter, it's relief, it's escape. It's the one place where their mind finally goes quiet. That changes the picture entirely, because it means that for many people, gambling isn't a pursuit of winning. It's a pursuit of a particular state of mind. And the losing, while genuinely painful, is almost secondary to the experience of being in it. This is why the environments matter so much. Casinos are not designed to help you gamble. They're designed to help you stay. No clocks, no windows, oxygen-rich air. Engineered acoustics where the sound of winning carries and the sound of losing is absorbed. Free drinks that lower inhibition. Loyalty programs that make you feel recognized, remembered, valued. Every single element is calibrated to extend one thing, the time you spend in that state. Because time in the zone is the product. Money is just how they measure it. And now, here's the piece that connects all of this to something you probably haven't thought about. The same neurological reward system that makes gambling addictive is the system we rely on for everything meaningful in human life. Falling in love is chemically similar. You don't know if this person feels what you feel. You don't know how it ends. The uncertainty is unbearable. And your dopamine system runs wild in exactly the same way. That nervous, electric, stomach-dropping feeling, that's variable reinforcement. That's your brain gambling on a person. Starting a business, making art, raising a child, choosing a path when you can't see where it leads. All of it runs on the same fuel. The willingness to act in the face of an uncertain outcome, because the possibility of something extraordinary is worth the risk of something devastating. Gambling, at its core, is the human experience distilled into pure form, stripped of meaning, stripped of context, stripped of consequences that matter beyond the game. But the feeling it produces is the same feeling that drives every creative leap, every declaration of love, every bet we place on our own futures. That's not an argument for gambling. It's something far more interesting. It's evidence that the brain wasn't designed to avoid uncertainty. It was designed to chase it, to need it, to feel most alive precisely in the moments when the outcome is unknown. The question was never really, why do humans love gambling? The question is, what does that love tell us about what we actually are? We are not rational agents who occasionally make irrational decisions. We are uncertainty-seeking creatures who built reason as a tool, a useful, powerful, remarkable tool, but never fully handed it the wheel. And somewhere between the slot machine and the feeling you get before you hit send on an email that could change everything, between the roulette wheel and the moment before you say I love you for the first time, there's the same thing. A heartbeat, a silence, and the impossible, irresistible pull of not knowing what comes next.